My experience was interesting because the first job I applied to, I got a phone interview and I was like, whoa, this is crazy, you know? Does not usually happen. So I get a phone interview, and because it's a small company, it's with the CTO directly. He likes what I had to say, so he gave me like a small coding challenge. Did well on the coding challenge, so they gave me a bigger coding challenge. And I submitted that, and he gave me great feedback. Had that gone well, I would have been on site for an interview and then hopefully hired, right? Because the chances of being hired after going on site get a lot higher. But you know, he was looking for a deeper knowledge of Ruby on Rails, like broader architecture than I displayed in my coding challenge. And so he you know, stopped the process. And at first I was like, oh, it could have been so easy, right? It was right there. And then after going through the job search in, you know, the following 3 months or so, I learned so much more. I just built up so much more knowledge just studying for interviews. And I realized, like, whoa, now when I get hired, I'm gonna go in way more prepared and confident in my coding abilities than if I had just gotten that initial, you know, job offer. So, you know, blessing in disguise, but the following 2 and 3 months were very challenging, right? Now you're like working just as hard, maybe even harder than when you're in the course, because the nature of the material at that level gets a lot more complex, right? You're like studying a lot of data structures and algorithms, and you're trying to do well in interviews, which means practicing whiteboarding, practicing talking about really technical, complicated concepts in a way that people understand. And it's a lot of pressure, right? And it's hard to perform under that pressure. So practicing, and you know, you're also like applying to a ton of jobs in a room full of a bunch of other people competing with you for those jobs. And when you think about it, lots of people are coming out of boot camps. You know, I do think App Academy has a reputation where if you reach out to somebody who went to App Academy, who is now working in the field, you know, a lot of App Academy grads will get back to you, they'll hop on a phone call with you, maybe even drop a referral for you at their company, because they know if you made it through App Academy, then you could probably code, right? That you have what it takes. And so in my experience, I did that a lot. I just went on LinkedIn, I found second and third degree connections of people from non-traditional backgrounds who went to a boot camp, and I reached out to them and said, hey, do you have 5 minutes to talk to me? And that act is what led to my current job. It's what led to all of my on-site interviews. But yeah, it's an arduous process. Like anything else, it's a lot about who you know, but you don't have to know anybody directly, right? You know people through the App Academy community, through going to meetups, definitely, and different conferences, and just, you know, attending talks, whether it's online or in person, on topics that interest you. You know, I've found interest in cybersecurity since graduating from App Academy, just from going to like a weekend at the Internet Archive here in the city. I heard Chelsea Manning speak. It was a day celebrating Aaron Schwartz, who did a lot for open source and making you know, resources available for free online, as they should be. And yeah, I think just exploring more about what you can do with software development, or kind of the paths you can take from there, it shows a lot to employers about you know, how serious you are about your career in tech. And it also keeps you going, because a lot of other things about the job process really suck, and anybody would tell you that, right? Like, nobody likes studying for to do algorithms under a timer or to demonstrate how a data nobody really likes studying for that stuff, but it's just the way it is to get into the industry right now for most companies.